Hi, Yvonne.
Hey, hi Evie, how you doing?
Good, good. We're a bit late, I suppose. That's okay. Yeah,
Is
we
there
are
such a thing? Is there such
no,
a thing?
not in our world, I suppose. It's not
Yeah,
fantastic.
we're a few minutes after 12:30, but that gives everybody an opportunity to settle in and
Yep.
be present. Right? Excellent. So, welcome to anyone who's watching live, and whether you've watched live before or not, whether you watch on replay. We're here really myth busting the phrases, the narratives, the stories that keep us caged and keep us small and stop us from stepping into our brilliance and really shining with all that is innate. And, we understand that these stories have been created more often than not during our childhood, from our experiences, from what we've been told, and what we have clung onto. And I always think that the interesting part of that is understanding that some of those stories are so deeply embedded, we don't even know that they're running. And that's the biggest challenge that we have, is not actually
Yes.
understanding
Mhm.
why we are thinking or behaving or feeling in certain ways. Um, Over to you,
And
Evie.
those things can really keep us from growing, keep us from developing, and making sure that we don't really realize all the things that we can as personalities, as humans, as individuals at the end of the day. And they are, I believe, equally important for men and women, but sometimes women, because of various reasons that we have discussed throughout our chats, might be a bit more affected or more prone to believing those myths rather than not.
Yeah, absolutely. But of course, you have that layering in of societal stories on top of everything else that tells you what it is to be a woman and how you should be, and how you should show up and what you should and shouldn't say. So there is a lot of peeling back of those layers
Oh, yeah.
to actually come back to ourselves and to understand that we have opportunities, possibilities, capabilities that we have yet to access some of the time, that we have yet to explore. And that's the beauty of the work that we get to do. And so this week, and this is a really interesting one, we're going to focus on the fear of success.
That is an interesting one, because I mean, like I don't believe like I have said that to anyone yet, and they were like definitely not feeling that they resonate with it until we unpacked it a bit.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is that thing that I think most of us would say, oh, of course I have no fear of success. That's why I'm doing everything that I'm doing to have success. But actually not really, because we may not be seeing the patterns that are obstructing us from having that. And that's kind of what we look at. So one of the phrases that we're looking at this week is, what if it actually works? And what if is a little phrase that comes up a lot, what if I'm not enough? What if I do it wrong? But it is, what if it actually works? What if this master plan that I have, these thoughts and possibilities, what if they actually work? What happens then? And that can be just as scary as thinking these things will never happen.
Absolutely, because the next thought is like, am I prepared? um, will I have the same people around me? Um, so many things that are coming together with this particular following this particular phrase, because it's not about uh, like visualizing it and enjoying the thought that something will work. It's that what is the outcome of it working, what are the consequences. And because we constantly think of consequences as something sort of negative, I think it is tied in with this particular phrase. And Of course, like many of the phrases that we talk about in myth busting, they are supported by other limiting beliefs that we don't often make the relation between
Yes.
the phrases and those limiting beliefs until we start discussing about this, right?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Because I think when I hear this phrase and when I kind of digest it, what if it actually works? That kind of almost fear of success is the fear of the responsibilities that will come with success. So, goodness gracious, if this thing actually works out, what are the demands going to be on me? How am I even going to begin to cope with those? What does that look like? How will that feel? And like you said, Evie, who will still be around me? Who will desert me? Who will, there's lots of other thoughts that then come streaming through. And it's that streaming through of these other thoughts that actually almost freezes us or puts us into a state of rejecting the very success that we have been working towards. And not necessarily verbally rejecting, but physically, like embodying the rejection of. And here's that thing, if we are embodying rejection, then we are pushing it away. We can no longer pull it towards us. We are literally pushing it away energetically.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it. That we are not um, allowing the possibility. And the other thing is that we unknowingly creating barriers to our own success, or creating obstacles, or we are sabotaging ourselves in like the steps that we're supposed to take. Procrastinating, there are so many things that we do just to make sure that we are not going to succeed, not consciously, clearly, but
Yeah.
subconsciously, for sure.
Yes, absolutely. And just to bring into the photo kind of like two saboteurs that really kind of play into this, that the hypervigilant, like everything is like red alert, oh my gosh, and what if, and then so that you kind of have that nervous energy that is playing out, which is probably crippling your nervous system whilst you are kind of looking for all the possible things that could be, and what should I be afraid of? Where are the red flags with all of this? And then there's also the restless, which was definitely one of my, used to be, one of my very playful saboteurs. But it would, again, the restless is almost like in answer to the possibility of the success, go off on a tangent and do something else, which can feel like or look like procrastinating. It can be literally just if I don't look at it any longer and distract myself with something else, and I don't even have to think about it. All of those things and the feelings that come up with that. I mean, there is anxiousness that ties into that.
Of course.
So, the impact that that has on us, on our ability to think clearly, on our ability even sometimes to ask better questions of ourselves, it all, all of that starts to play through. So yeah, I can definitely think of a period in my growth when this definitely came into play. And I may not have chosen those words, what if it actually works? But it would have been along those lines. Like if everything aligns and it pans out, then what? And that then what in my restless mode would have just taken me off to do something else.
Yeah, because you see, at that stage, you are start planning and you are getting overwhelmed for like the what if scenario. And because of being so overwhelmed, you are starting sabotaging the progress, because in your mind you can feel that okay, I'm not going to be ready, so it's not the right time, it's not the right fit, it's like maybe I don't know enough yet. So again, it sort of ties in with so much of that
Yes.
chatter that we have discussed over the months, and it stops us. And you might not think at all that that has to do with what if I succeed, or that you are scared of success. You might not even consider that is a possibility, and I think most of us don't. That's
Yes.
why we have our clients that when we start seeing the patterns, because I believe this type of phrase is like in one of our, like mostly on our blind spots, like most of the time. So when somebody else, a third party, and usually ourselves, we see those things with our clients, and we bring it forward for them to see, they cannot comprehend, they cannot see what this is until you really discuss with them the patterns and show them,
Yeah.
and stuff. Because it's easier to say, okay, I'm not ready. That is
Yes.
something that you can talk to, that
Yes.
you can relate to. But I'm scared of success. And who is scared of success? I would love to have some success,
Indeed. Indeed. Yeah, that's so true. And that readiness is something that I certainly hear quite often. I kind of want this, this, and this, but I'm not ready yet. And it's almost like I haven't got all the tools I need, I haven't got all the knowledge I need. All of those things start to come in. Yet underneath it all, that is not the truth. Like you are resourced, you are knowledgeable, you know what you need to know. It's that leap that is going to say, when I do this, and then I get the outcome that I keep on getting flashes of, and then putting down or tucking away, then actually it's those flashes of what that looks like when it all comes together that is keeping me caged right now,
Mhm.
not the lack of readiness or the lack of knowledge. Yeah,
Absolutely. And I
sure.
think that's the reason why a lot of coaches now, especially business coaches, are talking about don't focus too much on preparing things before you share them. Just move forward with the, like, what you want to offer, and see what the reaction is from your audience before you start investing time in this. And I think the reason why this is done is because it takes away a bit of the overwhelm, and also it prepares the ground a bit, depending on the number of people that are reacting to what you have to offer. So I think that, like from business perspective, that definitely has something to do with the overwhelm that you feel when you try to have everything ready, everything perfect, um, and you still don't feel that it's good enough to get out there. Um, and of course, that plays into the success bit. That if it is as successful as you're envisioning, are you ready for this? And how can you be ready if you have never been in that position? So
Yes.
it becomes a vicious cycle.
Yeah. It's the unknown, isn't it? It's the unknown. And this is where we have to really be gracious to ourselves and with ourselves, and really talk. I want to expand into success, and I want to expand into success with grace. And I don't have to have the 250,000 answers that I keep on telling myself I need to have before this is possible for me. And I don't even need to have those 250,000 answers to have the success that is already instilled within me. So there is a lot of being gracious with yourself and really just allowing yourself to, I don't know, visualize in a with the positive what ifs. So what if I do this and the impact it has on one person, 10 people, 100 people, just takes them to another level. So that also takes a bit of pressure off of you. It's not about you, it's what is that impact that you can have when you do it? What is it that's going to help those people that you want to serve? And I think sometimes even being able to turn that away from the what what if what's going to happen to me, what's going to fall out of my closet, what's going to do, what's all that stuff that going on, what is it that is going to help these people that you want to serve?
100%. I think this is also a very interesting shift that you can make, because we are more likely to be open to the possibility of doing something that has impact for others, rather than like the light is on me and now I'm successful, because it sort of like shifts the dialogue, not dialogue, like the purpose in a way. So it comes from because like I have clients, they are like very conscious about successful. Am I being selfish? Is it
Mm,
something that I do for me? It's only for me, something along those lines. They don't connect it necessarily with impact. But the
yes,
moment you start connecting this with the impact you can have, then, as you said, Yvonne, it takes it away from you. It's not about you. And whenever you are in business or whenever you are in contact with somebody, it really is not about you. It's always about them. Um, because these are this is what brings us forward. This is what makes us grow as well. So uh, the moment you understand that, then it is not really about the success. So it's much
exactly.
easier to swallow.
Exactly. And also even just thinking about success, you get to define what that means for you. It's not the
Absolutely.
same for every single person. What does that even mean to you and for you? And interestingly, I know that I have come across people in lots of different fields who are incredibly successful if you look at it from a monetary perspective or even how many people they've been able to help. But I'd never heard of them up until that moment. So even that fear of limelight is like,
Mhm.
even you can be super successful in the thing that you do without having to be the center of the stage. If that's the thing that is actually freaking you out, if that's the thing
Absolutely.
that's like causing you to put things aside or not follow through, you create the success. You carve it out. You get to have some say in what that looks like.
No, 100%. And I keep saying 100%. I'm very conscious about that, but I do agree with you so much. It's like truly the sense of like, what does that mean for me, and the freedom of defining it makes
Yes.
such a big difference in how you show up in life at the end of the day, because there are so many decrees that we have to like follow, or we have been told, or we've been conditioned. And the moment you start realizing the freedom you have to actually give meaning to the things that you want in your own life, the whole thing changes, the whole picture changes.
Yeah.
So
Definitely. Definitely. So the other phrase that we kind of tie into the fear of success is people won't like me if I succeed. Hmm.
yeah.
Now there's an interesting one.
Well, personally, I think that if anyone that won't like you because you're going to succeed, then that person shouldn't really be in your life. And I know it's a bit harsh, and it's like, nah, why are you saying that? So like, but the thing is that nobody likes change. It's not about somebody succeeding or not succeeding. It's about people feeling better in their own comfort zones. And what this means in a way is like I am going to shake the the comfort zone of other people. So that's why they are not going to feel the way they have been feeling till now with me, because I am now changing, growing, doing something different. But let me tell you, I strongly believe, and I have seen it, that even though people don't like change, they are very adaptable as well. So the people that are around you, the people that really care for you, no matter what shifts you make in your own life, they eventually are there with you. So yeah, this is not really.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think the fear is based about, having people resent you, having people abandon you. There's all those thoughts, if I suddenly become what I am visualizing for myself, if I step into that becoming, the people who perhaps even along the way have said, why are you doing that? Should you be doing that? Who have questioned even what I'm doing may fall away. And I think when we grow, we have to be open to shedding and seeing what remains. And that for me that's about people as much as everything else. Some people will be released. You don't have to tell them to go anywhere. Some people will just automatically be released because that change is making them uncomfortable in whatever shape or form, or they don't understand it. And others will remain, and others will flood in. So for me, this whole thing around, people won't like me if I succeed, that's the seed that we plant ourselves, again, that can stop us from moving into what we are here to do. It can
Absolutely.
be what stops us from shining our brilliance out into the world. And it also comes back to that thing of how much time do we want to spend worrying about what other people are thinking? We have zero control over that. If we have zero control and we're willing to rely on that, then we are giving up our own control, the bits that we do have, to that. And so for me, this is about saying, some will stay, some will go, but that's life. That will happen whether you're successful or not. That will
True.
happen whether you're successful or not. Some will stay, some will go, some will, flood it. It doesn't, that's all part and parcel of the journey. And I think also understanding that sometimes the other shift or the other side of that coin is that you stepping into your brilliance and taking that out and creating the success that you desire can also be an inspiration for others. It may be an inspiration. So why not just be able to at least see both sides of the coin? Yeah, there's an opportunity, there's a chance that people will fall away, and I have to be open to that, and I absolutely need to be able to release and let go if that's what's going to happen. But then what about the few or the many that will be inspired, that will help them to go off and do whatever it is that they're here to do? Two sides of one coin. So where we put our focus is what we bring into being.
Oh yeah. That is the thing at the end of the day. And I always say just believe in the possibility, and then you'll see what happens. We do have these preconceptions of what will happen, what might happen, and we hang on to that picture, and it might not even be realized the way that it is in our heads.
Indeed.
But in different ways, and sometimes also the people that we think that will not be there, will not be supportive or whatever, they are the ones that surprise us the most as well. So we need to leave, to let people do what they need to do, and to embrace what they need to embrace, because each and every one of us has the right to their own creation in a way, isn't it? And we cannot really continue living limited because of those preconceptions or those scenarios that we are building in our minds, and just keep reliving those and not asking, is this true, or is it something I'm imagining at the end of the day? Because it is something that it has not happened. You don't know.
Yeah, indeed. And again, even in this scenario, people won't like me if I succeed, is, if there are people in your circle who are trying to talk you out of, down from, whatever it is that you're trying to pursue, there's, excuse me, there are two camps here. There are those who really don't want it for you, who may have an agenda of their own, but there are also those that care deeply for you, and they think that they're doing right by pointing out all the reasons not to do it. Right? They want to protect you. However, that protection is coming from their own limitations, their own limiting thoughts. And so, even with that sense of love that they're trying to wrap around you, you still need to be able to say, I hear you. And I really thank you for wanting to keep me safe and secure. This is my journey. This is what I'm doing. This is where I'm going. That I've definitely experienced that. Like, why do you want to get out there? Why do you want to have this voice out in there? Why don't you just do this, this, and this? Because this is like, normal and
Yeah.
okay and safe. Not necessarily said in those words, but it's just like, yeah, but what if I step out and up and I reach more people, and something that I say ignites somebody else, somebody who has a brilliance that I can't even put into words, that needs igniting for them to go do something.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be part of that. So, if that offends somebody else, if that means somebody else feels like I'm stepping too far ahead of the game, or if that means somebody else is uncomfortable with me expanding and growing and exploring, that's not my bag. That's not my bag to carry.
No,
So
absolutely
I'm okay
not.
with that.
Yeah. But this is about the individuality at the end of the day, where we're heading as individuals, and what we see for ourselves, and what we allow ourselves to imagine and do, and what impact we want to have. It has nothing to do with everyone around us. Everyone around us will be or will not be with us at the end of the day. But
Indeed.
the bottom line is, where do you want to go? What does that mean to you? Because that's what matters at the end of the day. And you have not been asked by other people around you that they have made changes in their lives. And
Yeah.
why was that the case? I mean, sometimes, I think that when it comes to success, is like um, even like more difficult, like to discuss it, or to make the change, to make the shifts that you want to make,
Mm,
than like other things that you are like ready, and no, I'm going to do this because that's what I feel like doing, that have nothing to do with your own growth, your own success. So why do we take responsibility and chances for these things, and we don't for things that are much more important for our own growth? Why do we allow those narratives to keep us small, to keep us wondering? instead of just going there doing it. And like we can fail, but again, the failure is, as we have said in the past, again, it's like, what does it mean? Is the meaning that you give yourself, and where is success for you, even within failure, because there is success even in there. So yeah, it can get a bit too deep, I think. Discussion.
Well, it's always an interesting one when we talk about failure, because I'm a great believer that failure is just a stepping stone. It's just another stone. It's another lesson. It's
Yeah.
it's almost like, I think every experience is a stepping stone. When I pick it up, what was the lesson? What was the thing that I needed to take away from this? Am I willing to take that thing away and now apply it? Because that's all it is. It's telling you something. Are you looking for and taking that message? And so does that mean that there is no failure? There's no failure until you stop. I mean, there is literally no failure until you're down tools, not bothering anymore, not doing it. And then you can say, well, I have failed at doing this thing because I'm just not doing it anymore. But even then, it's like, have you put that down intentionally because something else is coming up for you or for you? Everything is an experience. Every single thing, every good, bad, indifferent, whatever labels we want to put on these things, everything is an experience, and they are ultimately, as painful and as hurtful as some things may be, they are for our learning and for our growth, I believe.
100%. Again, I think, yes, I completely agree. That's the thing, that
Yeah,
there is. I choose to believe that there is no failure.
yeah,
That there is, as you said, there are stepping stones, and if you want to put something down, you still have to reflect on that. You still have to understand what were the reasons for starting it in the first place, for putting it down at the end. And like with everything, we need to understand and respect our own resourcefulness at the end of the day, because
mm,
a lot of us live feeling that we're not resourced enough. We don't have the capacity, the capabilities, and all this.
mm,
But look around you and ask, as you said, the right questions, and you will find that not only you are resourced, but you are also resourceful. Starting even from nothing, you can find ways, and you can find people that will be there and will support and will um, hold you accountable as well, because that is also important. I think that's
yeah,
when we stop people from getting to that stage of like, no, 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 I'll just give up. There is no reason. And I find it like in collaborations that this is where you see it the most. That because you are accountable to another person, you are less likely to give up. You're more likely to move forward, to see things through, to have even more impact. So yeah, I don't know if I'm ranting here, but it's like one of those things that I really cannot accept, that
yeah,
somebody feels that if I am successful, somebody else is going to be upset, and therefore I'm not going to have the impact that I want to have. I'm not going to have the success that I want to have. And I'm going to stay as small as possible and become bitter at the end, because that's what happens. That's the next step,
yeah.
I suppose.
Absolutely. And what does that do? That just drives resentment. There's bound to be some fallouts around that also. It's that person's fault, or they said this, and all of that other stuff that potentially builds up when we allow somebody else's limitations, or even, as I said, through their care, but also based on their limitations, to stop us from stepping into what I believe we are here to do. So I just believe that everybody is here with something to put out into the world. Whether we get to do it or not is dependent on our openness, willingness to do the exploration and to welcome success in whatever that success looks like. And one of the ways for us to get used to what success may feel like, look like, be like, is by ensuring that we observe and celebrate all the achievements we have along the way. Because most of us are being successful a lot of the time. We just choose not to see it because it's not the end success that we're targeting, right?
Ah, absolutely. That is the case, isn't it? It's we choose to just overlook success, like get there. Okay, we managed that. Move to the next thing, without acknowledging what this thing means, how this is moving us to the next step, and that itself is such a waste. Because this is where the evidence lie that you do have a, a, a path to
Indeed.
success.
Indeed. And you're taking steps towards it. So don't, look at those stepping stones, just keep stepping, keep learning, turn them over. What have I learned? What am I taking away? What do I need to do next? Keep learning, keep moving. And, those who want to stay with you will, those that don't, won't. And that's okay, because that is part of the process. It's the part of the being, it's the part of the becoming. And we all have the right to access that, to access that.
Yep.
So, with that said, I feel we need to come to a close because we could probably keep on talking about this. Love to hear what your thoughts are, your experiences. Please, send us messages either under the video or message us directly. We want to hear your thoughts as well. Here at Permission to Thrive, we're here to help you break free from the narratives that keep you caged.
With grace, not grind.
100%. My turn to say 100%.
Thank you very much, Yvonne, for
Thank
sharing
you.
this with me.
Thank you, Evie. And thanks to all those who have listened in. Thank you.